still here now. Nothing left to fear now. Speak to my future through it all. Hope I'm still right.
Welcome to the pull-up. Today, we are chopping it up with upcoming MC Paradox. He just moved to the Big Apple to follow his dreams, and you know I'm pulling up.
Gotta keep my chakras clean. Opposition clocking, but it's like to break to stop the gleam.
Welcome to the pull-up. I'm your host, Zurisha, and I'm here with rising artist. Paradox, what's good?
What's good?
How you been doing? He is from the crib, you guys, all the way from Miami and in the Big Apple. So, what encouraged this big move?
It's not even that crazy, to be honest. Like, it's the second crib. I bounced out here, like 2016. Did that for a while. 2018 or so, I was like, I'm gonna go back home, work out some things, make some moves. And now I'm just like, it's time to bounce back and get back out here.
Wow.
With that extra push.
And you know what's crazy? Like, some of your music has a little boom bap sound. Like, that's your thing. Like, you love that. So it's just like the fact that you're all the way where the boom bap sound came from. It's like amazing.
Yeah, like I dad go to shows like in Miami. They'd be like all the way from New York, Paradox. And I'm just like, at that time I hadn't even seen New York in real life. It was like all the way from New York. We're introduced. I don't know. People always get that vibe from me. They be like, you got a different energy, different demeanor. You talk in certain ways. So like, you gotta be from New York. When I moved out here, it got worse.
What would they say when you moved out here?
The same thing. People feel it's regular. Like, and there's so many transplants here. I don't think New Yorkers even think or care. So it's always like, oh, you from here? I bet. No, you be like, nah. Then they get shook. Like, oh, Miami? Never would have thought.
What's the difference between networking in New York and networking in Miami?
I feel like New York is a lot more like hot energy, obviously.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like when people meet you in New York, it's almost like your name is second. What do you do comes first.
Wow.
It's like, oh, how you doing? What do you do? Because why are you here? Like,
like, why are you in my presence? Yeah.
Right, like, you can't be here to waste time. I feel like in Miami, we do a lot of the, like, oh, we gonna work, we gonna link. And then things kind of just drag along. Where in New York, when I meet artists and shows, it's like, all right, that's dope. You do something different. Let's get coffee tomorrow. Like, there's set agendas and there's set plays. Like, people really want to make moves. So it's just a different energy, like a different hunger.
Is that the reason why, like, you're like, you prefer out here?
And it's not even a matter of like what's better, because that's always the question. Like, what do you like more, New York or Miami? Like, I'm gonna say Miami because that's home.
Yeah.
But I do got a certain love and respect for New York at the same time. But I think that's why I prefer New York in its currency, like that I'm in now. I need that more. Like, I need more.
Do you believe in like past lives and stuff?
To some degree.
Do you think that like you were probably like a New York? Because you know New Yorkers never like leave that title. Even if they left fucking New York at 3 years old, they somewhere else like I'm from New York, you know?
They don't know nothing about New York. They give us that ass
I was born, I'm from here.
And they be 35 and they like, I'm from New York. But I don't know, because it was just always the energy thing. That's why my homie.
But you always felt like pulled over here.
I'm gonna tell you the truth. I tell people about New York all the time.
Right.
You either love it or you hate it.
Yeah.
The in between is it's a cool place, but I could never live there.
Yeah.
When you come, you know like which side of the line you're on.
Right.
So when everybody would say, oh, you should go to New York, you sound like you're from New York, I always felt like, well, let me go and try to figure out how do I feel once I'm there. It's like a lot of people come here every year and still don't know how to get around. Like I was here one day and I'm like, all right, but I'm sliding here, bouncing from Harlem, doing shows in Brooklyn, slide to the. So it's just, I guess it is in me inherently. It's weird, but it's just a natural transition for me.
Wow. So can we discuss your music process? Can we discuss how you even like get amped up in the studio? How do you even choose your beats? Because you know, like I said, you got this boom bap sound, and you know, like even recently, the modern sound is more like trap or bubblegum trap or you know whatever. So how do you even search for beats? Like what do you do?
It's different for every song. Like sometimes producers send me things, and they're like, yo, I hear you on this, work like this. Sometimes I'm just on YouTube bored, and I find producers like that. I'm like, oh, I like this, let me try to cop this. A lot of times I'm in the studio, sometimes with people who I rock with, and I give direction. I think now it's funny that you keep alluding to like the boom bap thing, 'cause that's the core of me. Like, I'm a hip hop guy, like I'm really about rapping. But I feel like now when this project drops, you're gonna get a taste. And when the other EP drop, you're really gonna get a taste of the fact that I found the perfect balance.
Let's talk about the writing process. Like, do you be driving around, do you be on the subway? Do you just like, you know, just be in the booth and you just be like, all right, like, start writing to it?
So Typically, like I have stuff before. Like when I get to the studio, I typically like to have things later. I know I'm gonna knock out this, that, and the third. If I got more time, then I'll play around with ideas. But I don't like to waste time that I'm paying for. I look forward to the moment when somebody else is paying for it, and I can kind of take my time. But when I'm coming out of my pocket, I gotta chill.
Wow. So can we talk about exercising your craft? Like you've been doing it for such a long time, and you know you only got better, and now you said you finally found the balance. So how was that like? How many trials and tribulations did you go through until you found your perfect like balance?
Yeah, like I think life is just this revolving thing. Yeah. So I'm saying this now, and then 5 years from now, I'm gonna be like, yo, I finally found this balance. you constantly just kind of rotate in this place where each chapter and season of your life just brings about something different. Right. And that's what I was saying, is I finally feel like I'm in a place where I'm writing fearless. A lot of people don't know when I first started recording, I was like classified as a Christian rapper.
Oh, wow.
So that's the little thing that a lot of people don't know. And it's like, once I transitioned from that, I had two stigmas that were stuck on me. It was like, you're the Christian rapper, so you can only talk about certain things. And it's you're the boom bap hip hop guy, so you can only rap on certain types of beats.
Wow.
So I had to go through a whole life journey. You know, you go through all of the dark stuff, but you go through all of that to get clarity. And at the end of that, you start to not care about certain things. Like you don't care about what people say or what people perceive or place on you. You're just like, look, I'm gonna do me. And now I'm in a place where I talk about what I want. Like I experiment with sounds and I'm doing different things. So all of the boxes that I was once in are breaking now. So that's why I feel like I got this balance.
So speaking of life journeys, what is the biggest epiphany that you ever had?
It's a couple. I tell you, not even to tell a sad story, but when I first moved out here, like I said, I went through some things. Like I was going to school, working, trying to do music, and when I flew to New York, I landed with no place to stay.
Oh my God.
So I had like maybe, I don't even know, like $400 or $500 to my name.
Wow.
Nowhere to stay. I had a scholarship, and that was it. So, you know, I was grinding and trying to do that whole thing. I remember one night, I sat in the shelter, because I didn't know where else to go that night, and I was sitting in the shelter, and I was just like, bro, it was like 3 in the morning, and I was just like, it was an odd freeing thing. So when you hit your lowest, you either go downward and it's over for you, or you just find a way to elevate from that. So I just took like that low moment to be like, you know what? I would rather be in this moment doing what I want to do than to be comfortable doing something that I don't want to do. You know what I mean? And every day I go to work, it's a reminder. Like, I'm doing it because I got to sustain and pay for myself and get the business moving. But at the same time, it's like, I don't want to be here. And it don't mean nothing. Like, that gives me an epiphany every day. Like, I wake up and be like, yeah, that's not it.
But isn't it such like a wonderful thing where when you spend your paycheck on things that's going to elevate you? Like when you do studio time, when you pay for a video shoot, and you know, like, even if something is merch and stuff, like, like, isn't it like kind of liberating when you just like, you don't really care about you, like you're watching people in your job that care so much because that's all they have, and then you're in the back of your head like, I'm meant for more. I'm meant for more.
Absolutely. Like, it's humbling, and it kind of like, it's up and down. Like it has its positives and it has its cons. Right. Because on the inside, like there's this person inside of you that's like, you know what? I'm making this money and I'm going to work every day and I'm getting this bread. I want to live. Like I want to go out and be lit too. Like I want to buy like this and I want to buy that. PS5's dropping. Like I want to cop that. But I got music to master. Like I got certain things to do. So you got to pick and choose like where to enjoy things and where to really lock in. But it is rewarding because you know like I'm doing this for a reason. The problem is when the reason don't hit quick, because we always want things to happen fast. Definitely. You start to really feel like, well, dang, like, is it for a reason? You got to start to bounce on that, like, line a little bit.
Before we get into your future plans for your fans, I like to play a game called Play the Fifth. And
I heard about this.
Oh, you heard about this?
I be deeping on the ground.
If you don't know, now you know. Play the Fifth is a game where you answer 5 random questions. It can be about anything. And you will decide if you tell the truth or plead the fifth. But the gag is that you are swearing on your career. So, before we get started, you have to repeat after me. I, Paradox, swear on my career.
On the whole career. Swear on my career.
That I'll tell nothing but the truth for these next 5 questions.
That I'll tell nothing but the truth for these next 5 questions.
Or plead the fifth.
We'll plead the fifth.
Let's go. So question number uno.
Alright.
What's the first girl you ever cheated with?
I ain't even gonna lie to you. One of them just walked past.
Oh my god!
True story. So true story. Like, so one of the people I was with was my ex, but we're cool now. Like,
Yeah.
she knows
Y'all
about
grown
it.
now.
We grew past that whole thing, but we were together. You know, I was going through some wild stuff with work. We was going through it back and forth. Like I went to Miami to do business, linked with a friend.
Yeah.
That whole thing went down.
You know what? I ain't even ask details. Question number 2. What is your biggest turnoff in a person?
First thing that wanna come to mind is just lack of consistency. Like, I'm a real, like, what I say and what I give off is what I am in person, so I kind of expect that from people around me. And that's for anything. That's in business, that's in friends, that's in relationships. If you give off a certain, like, oh, I'm gonna do this or I'm this, and you don't keep up with that, then it kind of blows mine. And, like, it's a thing that I people put. It's like,
Right.
Like, nah, I'm good.
What was the worst run-in you had with the cops?
But I say the worst one was the one, I tell this story because I ain't even do nothing. I was dead chilling. So it was like 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, I was walking down the street, and I guess you know how that goes, fit the description. We had a pull, robbery, so I'm walking with 2 of my friends. This was back in Miami, like years ago. I'm like 16, 17, so you walking to Target and like 6 cop cars hit and just like on some SWAT, Fast and the Furious, like hit the corner, woo! So I freeze because in my mind it's fight or flight. It's like, am I about to take off? I'm probably not gonna make it. It's like 6 left. So I was like, I'm just gonna stop moving, bro. So I just stood still and I popped. And dude got out. So once he pulled out, gun out in my face with it, like, get on the ground, And I'm just like, whoa. So yeah, like that was wild because it was actually like kind of dramatic for no reason. Like I was there just walking down.
You didn't even do nothing.
Yeah, I was just vibing. Like I got other stories where I did, but this one I was vibing. I was there chilling and I got a gun in my face. I guess they had got a reported of suspicious people of robbery allegedly, and me and my other black homies was walking, so it just looked like a thing.
So, 4th question: what is your favorite alcohol to drink?
So it depends. Like typically I'll be on the Ciroc wave.
Yeah.
When I'm like feeling lit and festive, it's like the bubbly with the rosé, like the Bel Air joint. Like I'll be on that type of vibe. Yeah, it just depends. Like Thursday, I'm about to be on that Bel Air type of. Right now, I got the Ciroc at the crib.
Question number 5: what is the littest night you had with your friends and why?
I don't know. I don't know, I really be chilling. Like I feel like
no crazy night.
Yeah, I feel like any story I bring up is probably not that crazy. So I'm gonna just plead the 5th off the strength of that. Like,
nobody ever answers this question.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I don't feel like my answer would be impressive. Like I'm not even gonna waste the time.
Definitely. Well, we about to go. However, I gotta know what you got going on for your fans that's waiting for you to drop something.
Right. Yeah, people have been like really on my case. Like, you need something. So the EP songs I wrote in quarantine is dropping on Thanksgiving. It's literally just a few songs that I wrote in quarantine. Songs I wrote in quarantine dropping Thanksgiving. That's dropping on midnight. I'm also doing a live stream with my IG. So if you follow me, 6 p.m. we doing that, performing. I'm bringing the keys out, doing some cool stuff. But yeah, it's just a collection of songs that I wrote during the quarantine. It's 5 records, nothing crazy.
You got a theme?
It's just the quarantine thoughts. Like I guess it kind of encompasses the whole thing, from going from living your everyday life to nothing going on and like no money, and then stimulus money and unemployment money. So we lit now, and then now I don't know what's going on in the future. So it's all of those things in one project.
Just in your head, like it's Paradox's head,
right. Like
mind.
that whole like few months span. It's like that's what.
Wow. I'm so grateful. You gave me the chance to pull up on you. Although this guy's heading to work, guys. Heading to that studio sesh. But you already know I had to pull up on him. I appreciate you guys for watching. You are watching the pull up hosted by. Why you gotta say no?
No, because you said watching twice.
Damn.
All right, let's go.
I am so grateful you let me pull up on you, giving me the 411 on what you got going on. I'm so excited for the EP that you got coming up. And if you guys don't know, now you know. You are watching The Pull Up. I'm your host, Zurisha, and I'm here with Paradox. See you till next time.
Going through it, but this music keep me spellbound. Throwing up some shots for all the nights that I was hellbound. I'm still here now, nothing left to fear now. Speak to my future through it all, hope I'm still around. Plotting elevation, talks to Charlemagne. Trying to reach a higher top, but that a spot remain. Private plane drifting, my family got these mental chains. But if my message ain't connected, it ain't worth the fame. Politics with God to keep my chakras clean. Opposition clocking, but it's light too bright to stop the gleam. Make my people all united like the soccer team. Pressure on this man checks, it ain't how it sing. Effort ultimates in my pockets, be sumo. Counteract apocalypse, giving my people new hope.